J-E-T-S, Good job today, man. One at a time, and we'll get the job done. Y'all know what to say. On three. 1, 2, 3. And the home of the Jets.
Good evening, everybody. We are 2 weeks away from the NFL season, so I figured, I got to talk to my good friend. The last time I think I saw at a tailgate, my good friend Ryan. What's up, man? How you doing?
What's good, Tyson? Thanks for having me on. Looking forward to talking some ball.
Thank you, dude. It's a Sunday night. I'm sure you're tired. Don't feel like dealing with my nonsense. And I'm like, I appreciate, a few minutes with your very valued time.
Oh, of course. Anytime. Anytime for you, Tyson.
So how you been, man? This is an interesting season for the Jets because not a lot of expectations as opposed to the last 2 years. You have some fans that are excited, some fans that are not so excited. What's your vibe right now on August 24th going into the season?
Yeah, I think I've set my expectations a lot lower this year comparatively to the last two. Obviously, I'm not thinking Super Bowl or bust. I'm thinking, hey, I want to know that we're in the right hands with this coaching staff. A few things going into the season, I was like, okay, I want to make sure we have Sauce and Garrett locked up. Those two things have been taken care of. If we could find out we know Jermaine Johnson is back to form and healthy at the end of the year, I think that makes me feel real positive. And then other than that, I see positives out of the young players. That's really what I want to see. Know that Tanner Engstrand can be the guy. I'm not sold on Fields one way or the other going into it. I think it was probably the right option to go with for this season. But, if he can be the guy, great. If he can't, there's a lot of quarterbacks coming out this year. So I'm kind of going into it with a lower stress level than previous years.
I mean, what's your initial impressions of Aaron Glenn? Because when the whole hiring process, we talked about it during the time, was like people wanted Vrabel, they wanted Flores, you wanted all these established guys. You got a guy that seemed like he genuinely wanted this job. He's embraced the Jets pride, the passion. He's bringing the intensity, the accountability. It seems like he's won some fans over just by his demeanor and the way he's rolling into camp. But what are your thoughts on his staff, and how they're going to get ready for the season?
Yeah, I think the demeanor really means a lot. The way he handles the media, the players all seem to be rallying around him, which is really, really nice to see. I like the whole coaching staff overall. I don't feel like we're lacking in one particular area. Even Engstrand, even though he's the first year offensive coordinator in the NFL, he's called plays for 6 years prior to this in college. So it's not like a rookie thing. Aaron Glenn, first time head coach, obviously, but comes from a great pedigree of coaches between Bill Parcells and Sean Payton and Dan Campbell. I think he's learned under a lot of really good staff. So overall, I like where we're headed with Glenn so far. I liked where we were when we first got Saleh too. So it's hard to, I gotta see some wins. Let me see the proof. Proof is in the pudding, but I like where we're headed so far. It wasn't like an, oh no, this is a Gase level situation where I feel like we're in the right direction.
And yes, Sir God Blackman, this is the cockpit guy. This is officially Ryan. This is not AI. It's interesting, man, because I love Aaron Glenn, my favorite player of all time. So I loved him. I loved his resume. I wanted somebody a little more established, but I understand it. He got him. But then it's okay, you're seeing how he's handling things. You feel encouraged there. But to me, it's always going to be about the offense. It's going to be about the quarterback. It's been the same Jets story for a decade now. Find the quarterback. We want to score points and be competitive every week. So you look at they kind of put their chips in on Justin Fields, who it's like a reclamation project, right? He's a guy that has potential. You've shown flashes of running, some inconsistent passer, and we haven't seen a lot in preseason, man. We saw how many 4 series at this point. You don't see a lot. And the overreactions are already there, man, where it's just this guy's, we blew it. We should have got Jackson Dart. This clown, what's a realistic expectation for Justin Fields in year one of this offense? It's not like he's been here 5 years already. It's he's learning along with everybody else.
Yeah. I look back at his history and how he's performed and what he's been available for. He hasn't played a full season. So I'd expect, maybe he's going to miss, 2 or 3 games throughout the course of the year, going to get banged up a little bit. I think if you can get 3,000 yards through the air and 800 yards on the ground, that's probably what you're, ideally hoping to get from Fields on the season. You're going to have a lot of running. Expect 60+% runs. Last year we were 60+% passing, so it's going to be a total flip flop of the offense. It's really going to matter when Fields is going to have to make teams pay with his arm. When they load the box and they're saying, okay, can you throw on us?
Yeah.
Is it going to be a bomb to Arian Smith where he then, is he going to catch the ball or is he going to drop the ball? That's the concern with him. Is Fields going to be able to put the ball on the money? Because we've seen a lot of bad passes in camp and in the games and whatnot. So, expectation level relatively low, but expecting a lot more running with Fields. But I think it can be exciting. I mean, he had 1,200 yards with DJ Moore, a few years ago. So you can see some positive things.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at we'll talk about the offensive line next. There's a blueprint for him, but I have kind of the fear that you mentioned. It's like they're going to stack the box. They're going to say, we're going to dare you to beat us with your arm. Maybe downfield, like kind of taking away all the intermediate routes, the short routes. But listen, beat us vertically, consistently, then we got to back off. Then we respect your game more. And that's on Engstrand to scheme guys open and actually make the throws, which remains to be seen, man. Like he's a very easy guy to root for, though, right? He's quiet, blue collar guy. He's embraced the whole team. Doesn't say much. He just wants to prove himself to everybody. He has kind of chip on his shoulder, which is great. Which would be great for fans. We're used to having that, right? Because we're always angry about something. So it's like right? We are. So he's got to, but he's got to prove it. And then you have week 1 against Aaron Rodgers. It's like no favors being done there because win, he's a hero. Lose, we should have kept Rodgers. So it's a really tough spot for him, man. I think the one thing I like is the way Aaron Glenn's handling him by saying, "Listen, man, he's our guy. He's going to be fine." He's kind of not saying, almost shielding him a little bit from all the nonsense from the press, which is important, dude, especially in this market and the quarterback history here.
Yeah, I think Fields is the nice thing about his demeanor is it's closer to like Sam Darnold's demeanor where it's very stoic and like he's not going to get too high, too low. I feel like with Zach and with Rodgers, it was like those polarizations of the personalities, and then with the media and everything. Like I don't think you're going to get a lot out of Fields. I think if he performs bad, it's going to be like, hey, look, I performed bad.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to ask a lot of him. I think it's going to be very similar to like an Eagles offense. If he passes 15, maybe 20 times a game, that's probably what you're hoping for. You really want to just beat the other defense into submission with the run. And hopefully the variations of like RPO and like multiple running backs on the field at the same time could create enough confusion for a defense that maybe the loading of the box is neutralized in some capacity.
Yeah, no, I agree. And like you said, the blueprint for this team is running the football. So you have a revamped offensive line. You added Membu, who, maybe he struggled a little bit early on in camp, but he's a rookie, man. There's going to be growing pains. And Olu's not like an established veteran either. So you have your bookend tackles are young, great athletes, but they got to learn a bit. So what's your level of confidence in this offensive line being stout, being physical, being nasty, and actually having the ability to establish the run?
It just feels good to have an offensive line that's been together for the most part. Like aside from Membu coming in, the rest of the guys are aware of one another. That goes for Mitchell. That goes for the guard Newman. If he winds up making the roster, Myers is familiar with Fields at the very least. Like there's a lot of familiarity across the board. Can they stay healthy? I think AVT's health is always a little bit of a concern. Simpson had the back a little bit ago, so how does he hold up? But overall, like there's some flexibility with Tippmann going to guard, Myers coming in. Like I think you got to at least feel good with that. Tackle goes down if AVT needed to kick out. You're not kind of up shit's creek. So I'm expecting, I'm hoping for a top 10 offensive line. That's really the goal here. There's a lot of high picks on that line.
And it seems like, with Glenn making the running game a priority, you kind of feel that's the way it's going to be. They seem like they're being very coached up. They have that intensity. They have that nastiness. And it seems like they're a united team or unit. And a good point to use, they've actually practiced together. It's not like the last week of preseason, like, oh, by the way, here's our left tackle. Now you can go like, here's Dwayne Brown. Let's come play together. Like, no, we're all like one unit, which is great. Now the running game is interesting because Breece Hall is kind of a guy that's loved or hate now with the Jets fans because he had that big start, got hurt, hasn't been the same player, has had a rocky training camp called all reports, fumbling and dropping passes and everything else. Contract year, probably not going to get it here. What are your thoughts on Breece going into this year next? I'll be honest. I'll tell you before I let you answer. I have this feeling that he may have more receiving yards than rushing yards, and Braille may be the bell cow guy. I think they may use him as a piece, but not the piece he thinks he's going to be.
Yeah, I think as opposed to looking at how many rushes he's going to have, I'm looking at how many touches he's going to have.
Yep.
I do think he could be our number 2 receiving option, next to Garrett. I think it's going to be Garrett, Mason Taylor, and Breece are like the 3 guys that get a lot of targets this year. If you get if you're able to like feature Brees early on and you're able to get yourself in a position where, okay, we're either winning games and we're looking good, or maybe we're losing games and Brees is looking good and getting the benefit of these, yards and touches and everything. And you get to the deadline and now you're like, okay, well, we know we're not re-signing. We know we're not hitting with the franchise tag. Like, I want to trade Brees. I don't want to let him walk for nothing.
Yep.
That at the same time, if they're at the best offers, like a 5th round pick, I don't really want to trade him for a 5th. He's such a home run talent. Like maybe there's some, situation where he does well enough where he's like, hey, I'll take another contract with the Jets. Maybe he's just not in line for a big deal somewhere. I like what Brees can be. I see Sir God put it in there. Brees could be our Alvin Kamara. I think that's a perfect, example of what he could be. I don't need him to have 1,000 yards. If he has 1,300 yards across receiving and rushing yards, that's a win for me.
No, I completely agree with you, dude. He has, and it's like, you'd think in this contract year, you're going to get the best version of him. And unfortunately, you haven't really seen that in camp, but when the bright lights come on, a lot of things can change. Now, in terms of roster construction, how many running backs are you keeping? Are you keeping 3? Are you keeping 4? Isaiah Davis has been injured. I'm guessing maybe he goes to, he's starts on the IR. I don't know, but like, how do you construct the running back room?
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Like, I think up until this past game, I felt Andrew Beck was definitely a lock. He played pretty late into the game, and now I'm like less certain of it.
Yep, me too.
I mean, you got to think Brees, Allen. I'm assuming Davis isn't going to go to the IR. I think he's probably going to be on the 53 to start. If you could find a way to IR him and then you save like a Donovan Edwards, that would be kind of nice. And Wangwu, from a kick returner perspective, feels like he's getting a lot of work at the running back position. And, I think he's going to be our kick returner. I think Pritchett's probably going to be our special teams guy from like a receiving or like from a punt return standpoint. So yeah, running back wise, I'm feeling good. I like Braylon Allen a lot. I could totally see Allen being the bell cow running back. Along with Fields too. I mean, Fields, you kind of got to look at as like a running back in his own right. Yeah.
You can see Braylon closing out games, 3rd quarter, 4th quarter, just like when the defense is already getting like tired, a little sloppy, you just start, a big bowling ball coming through and just wearing everybody out. And interesting point about Beck, because I was kind of with you where I'm like, what? He's a versatile chess piece. He can be like a hybrid tight end. He can block, he can catch, he can run. Cool, perfect. But especially, I'm not the biggest fan of this tight end group at all. I think it's a mess. I'm looking for upgrades. So if you're going to consider Beck like your hybrid tight end, you go Mason Taylor, Beck. Are you keeping Rucker? I mean, Stone Smart, I think, is going to stay because of the receiving ability and whatever else. But like, are you keeping Rucker? Like, how do you handle the tight ends?
Rucker to me felt like the only reason I'd probably keep him is final year of his deal. He played with Fields in college. Like, there's some degree of like maybe comfort there. But if you wanted to cut him, I totally understand it. I think Smart was brought in. Was he the first free agent that we signed? I think he might have been.
I think Beck was.
Oh, Beck was. Okay. So like,
he's up there though. He was one of the first ones though.
Yeah. I feel like it was early on. And then you bring in Mason Taylor. Like, to me, it just feels like Rutgers kind of on that bubble there.
Yep.
I guess if you consider 3 tight ends plus Beck, is Beck like, are we listing him under tight end, or is he kind of like a back almost?
That's a lot too, right? It's like now you're looking at, if you're going to go 4 running backs, including like the returner, you're going tight end, you're taking away from other positions that, position we're going to talk about next, the wide receiver group. Like, what the hell do you do there? Where it's like, it's an interesting, choices for Muji, and the wide receiver group one that I don't like at all, dude. It's just, you want, the goal is you want to see Justin Fields drop back to throw and have like reliable pass catchers, reliable route runners. And right now we have a lot of unproven guys, or guys we're hoping we catch lightning in a bottle with, right? Like, there's a lot of faith in Josh Reynolds. He hasn't really played much in the preseason. Tyler Johnson, I'm talking about after Garrett Wilson, obviously. Malachi Corley, disappointing. Gibson's been hurt, not really he is what he is at this point. So how do you handle that? To me, I like what Brandon Smith brings to the table, but I'm also saying we like it because it's all we see right now. But I'm looking at the waiver wire, man. I'm looking at when cuts happen to see where can we find upgrades all throughout the NFL, because I think you need I'd say 2 more receivers here to add kind of like insurance policies, right?
Yeah, I don't think you're feeling good about it. I think Lazard's probably going to start on the IR. That gives you a little bit of breathing room from like other positions. Like, I have Garrett making it, obviously Reynolds, Johnson. I have Brandon Smith, Pritchett as like the 6th guy. I think Arian Smith's going to have a bigger role in this offense than I think a lot of people are thinking right now. Like, you probably think of him as like, oh, he's the 4th wide receiver on the team, but like, I think wide receiver 2 by committee, based on what they're trying to do with the rest of the offense, might be what you sort of see. If you need a burner over the top, Arian Smith's in there. If you need a run blocker, Lazard's going to be in there. If you need a, I don't know, a possession guy, it could be it could be a Lazard, it could be Reynolds. Like there's a few different options you can have
Yeah.
in there. So yeah, I mean, I don't feel great. I would definitely, I'd be open to an upgrade, but I also don't want to spend a ton of money. I like the idea of rolling money into next year. Like I want this to be more of an evaluation year of guys on the roster. If you can talk me into signing someone that could be here beyond this year, then okay. But like, I don't want like the stopgap guy.
Is my mic off?
I mean, I can hear you, but maybe it's not the correct mic. Maybe it's like going through your computer or something.
No. I'm sorry about that. If that's the case, I didn't even test it. I just assumed it was on. Yeah, but so the wide receivers are interesting, and but overall, the passing game in itself, like you want these guys that are just, it's just, it's my concern, dude. Like I want Justin Fields in the best spot to be successful. I don't want him to be like, oh, there's nobody getting open, nobody catching the friggin' ball. It's like we've seen this before, dude. We've seen ways to destroy quarterbacks. I think they're in a better spot now, but it's not a great spot. So it's, I don't know. I'm hoping like Muji's been very active in the trade now. He's trading away, he's, trading guys away, bringing guys in. But like for me, wide receiver, tight end, I'm not opposed to anything at this point. You feel comfortable with running back, but it's like, listen, man, you can be aggressive and not be foolish with money, right? So I think that should be the plan on offense, especially like offensive line is good, but receiver, dude, please help me. Just give me hope here, man.
Is there a like a caliber of receiver that you're kind of looking at? Like, would you be in on Terry McLaurin, or are you like in on like more of like the lower end guy, like a Tim Patrick that might shake free or something along those lines?
Yeah, you saw the rumors like Alec Pierce, Tim Patrick, McLaurin. To me, McLaurin's going to go back to the Commanders, dude. I think this is just one big pissing contest that's going to be just get done probably this week because it's the regular season's coming up. And it's also you gave that huge money to Garrett too. It's like you just want to find, and that's kind of like my gripe with Muji and going into free agency, dude. Like a lot of these guys that were out there didn't sign big deals, dude. Like 1 year, $6 million, 1 year, $5 million. Nobody broke the bank, and they're like, no, we got Josh Reynolds. No, we got. Now it's like you see them kind of trying to pivot, like, oh, we need a receiver. No shit, dude. I told you that 2 months ago. Now I'm not discounting Josh Reynolds. I don't know what he brings to the table, but it's just me. It's like you try to find pieces to the puzzle. We got to find more. And again, the team's a work in progress. This isn't like the Aaron Rodgers, like bring in Devontae Adams. We're one player away. We're not one player away, but you still want to be competitive. Like you want to win 6, 7, 8 games, right? And I think the offense is probably my biggest concern of everything. Again, I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, I feel like I want to see Fields operate on like half field reads, like roll him out, have the Garrett drag across the as the deeper guy. You have Mason Taylor cutting around in like, the 5 yards and in sort of range. And then you have a running back sort of as a safety valve and just eliminate the full field reads. I don't think you want to put Fields in situations that like might make him feel uncomfortable.
Yep.
So I feel like wide receiver 2 to me, certainly a need, but maybe a little less so because of how I feel Fields might operate within the offense.
Now, what are your expectations for Mason Taylor, Max? You talked about it earlier, like in targets, it'll probably be Garrett, Brees, Mason Taylor. Do we have too high of expectation of Mason Taylor? Like, oh, he's got to catch 70 passes this year. Like, what do you think he's going to do?
Yeah, I don't think there's necessarily like a certain number I want to see him get to. I want to see a certain percentage of throws that go his way to be successful. Like I want to see him open. I want to see him, I don't know if there's a yardage, like does he hit 500 yards and like, okay, cool, I'm happy with that.
Yeah. Be a playmaker, be effective.
Yeah, like I just want to see you as a net positive. Like I don't want to see you dropping passes. I don't want to see you like constantly blown up on film review for run blocking or something along those lines. Like sort of operate in a net positive situation for this year.
All right, so we covered the offense. The defense can be quite interesting because you have Aaron Glenn, defensive minded coach, Steve Wilks, veteran defensive coordinator, brings a lot to the table. And I always joke around like Joe Douglas did one thing very well. He ruined the defensive line by getting rid of everybody. So now you're rebuilding it, and then they had injuries, unfortunately. Weaver's hurt, Coward's hurt. They made a trade for Harrison Phillips, which I like a lot. You have Quentin Williams, but I think when you look at the last couple preseason games, it's the depth. The overall depth of the defensive line is kind of concerning, right? Where you're like, who's your pass rusher behind Jermaine Johnson, who could be on a pitch count to start the season? Will McDonald could be a breakout star, but after them, who do you have? Like, it seems like it's a work in progress, but I think the depth is concerning when they could be on the field a lot.
Yeah, I feel like for me, Michael Clemens is on this roster because of the lack of depth at that particular position. Jermaine Johnson, I'm just hoping to see him back to full form by the end of the season. So like my expectations for the defensive line right out the bat are not like super, super high. Will McDonald, I obviously want to see him take another step. He looks a little bit bigger. Can he be a factor in early downs?
Yep.
That would be kind of nice to see. Is he going to be a situation next year where maybe we're looking to re-up him the same way we did with Garrett and with Sauce, after year 3? I think when I look beyond that, you know, you got Quinnen Williams, you got Phillips that you feel like all right about, but
Yeah.
again, it's going to be thin. Like I think if yeah, I mean, if Will McDonald can't be the guy on early downs, if Jermaine Johnson isn't healthy right off the bat, like all of a sudden this defensive line is very, very concerning. I think it could be a very early need next year. Like for me, when I'm looking, I'm thinking like quarterback and edge rusher are probably our two predominant needs, along with like a second wide receiver.
No, I'm the same boat. It's like you want to be optimistic about the season. You're excited. Football's back. Jets football. You know, it's like, all right.
Mhm.
But when you look at you assess it and being honest with yourself, like, all right, there's some red flags. And when you start doing the if this happens, this happens, and those ifs are very realistic, you're like, oh shit,
Mhm.
this could be a problem. And you know, then you got to counter really good coaching. And I think between Glenn and Wilkes, there's some level of confidence that you can do smoke and mirrors, you can blitz, you can be aggressive, but it's
Mhm.
definitely a red flag. The linebackers you got to feel pretty good with. You got Quincy, you got Jamie Sherwood. They got some speed there, which they haven't had in a long time, which is exciting. They'll probably be a little more physical, hoping the tackling improves. Do you think there's any, even though Sherwood played a lot last year, do you think there's any concerns of just, you know, with the CJ Mosley now out of the building, any leadership or communication like that as Sherwood takes over?
I don't know. I feel like there was probably some torch passing last year when Mosley didn't get as much, you know, as much time towards the end there. I don't know. To be determined, I guess. They had Sherwood be the guy that calls the plays during that players only practice.
Yeah.
So I guess they might feel comfortable with it and like him being able to call those plays. And I just feel like we're thin. Like outside of the top two, I don't really feel great about the depth at either defensive line or linebacker right now. Barnes had a beautiful hit, but like, is he going to wind up making the roster? Like, I have no idea. I think they cut Jamin Davis today.
Yeah, they did. Yep, they did. So yeah, man, I'm in the same boat. It's like you're looking and you're just like, all right, I see this boat with coaching. Let's make their really good coaching and they're good tackling and they're physical, whatever, it's fine. You look in the secondary. Secondary is interesting because Brandon Stevens is having a phenomenal camp according to all reports. Sauce, I like what I see out of Sauce because, well, not that he's hurt, but that he played more physically, played more tense. He's taken on that leadership role. It's like, all right, they're getting him back on track where it's like, listen, you're a leader and you got to play to a higher standard now because you should, and we expect it of you. And I think he can. But after Michael Carter, second, great player. I think he's going to be like a Swiss, like a chess piece for them too. You know, a Swiss Army knife for the Jets. But then the safety position, dude, bothers me. It bothers me to no end. And Cisco showed some good things. He showed some bad things too. But he's a ball hawk. But after that, Tony Adams, not really the biggest fan. Malachi Moore, rookie, who's shown some good things, but he's also a rookie. What are your thoughts on the secondary, man? I think there's a little hole there too. I think.
I feel like we're putting a lot of faith in Glenn's ability to coach up the secondary. When you have, you know, your corners, you're probably feeling better about. Like obviously everyone loves Sauce. You love Michael Carter. Stevens, I wasn't sure like how to feel about going into the season. Now, like going through training camp, the positive words. Hey, what's up, Jake?
He lies too. He goes on every stream and says it to everybody. Where's Like, oh, you're the best ever. He lies. He's fluffing us all.
From a safety room perspective, I really like what we're gonna eventually have out of Malachi Moore. I think that's trending in the right direction. I have more optimism there than I do at the the interior defensive line or the D line side of things. But yeah, I feel like we're just thin. I feel like we're top heavy. It feels similar to like that 2010 year without the veterans, maybe, where we're a little more top heavy and we're trying to round out the bottom part of the roster.
Yep. Did you know that Cisco's first name is San Fran? But you not know that. Brandon man brings a lot. He brings a lot of knowledge to the streams, man. You'd be surprised.
I love it.
He teach us. So overall, the defense is going to be interesting. What would be like with the offense? I think it's all about Fields. Like, you know, what does he do? Offensive line. To me, it's going to be all about the defensive line. Can they get pressure? Can they stop the run? If not, the depth you worry about and just getting exposed all over the place. What's a realistic expectation for this defense? Is it top 15? Is it going to be like? Is it going to be a strength? Is it going to be a weakness? What do you think?
I mean, I'm definitely open for top 15. I think we're going to see a lot more blitzing than we have in the past, like as opposed to going, you know, with just our down front four linemen guys. I think that's in part because we are not as deep in that area.
You like my comment, I guess.
Where was I? I lost
defense.
Yeah, like defensively, I want to see top 15. I want to see us be able to like get to the pass rusher. I want to see us to get more turnovers. Like maybe we like a bend but don't break style defense.
Yeah.
You know, I don't care seeing a bunch of yards in between the 40s, but like just hold up, make sure you get those field goals. Like I'm going into this week 1 of the season, I'm thinking it's probably going to be a low scoring game. Like I don't see the the Steelers getting 20 points. I think it's going to be under that for them.
Oh, 100%. I think it's like a 13-10, just
That, yeah.
hard-nosed. Aaron Rodgers hasn't played the whole preseason. You know exactly what's going to be. Both teams trying to run the ball. Both teams trying to be more physical. Who makes more mistakes, and that's how how the game's decided. And I think it's, to me, I love the matchup. We'll go to that next. But it's though, and you have special teams too, where it's interesting because Pritchett is a really fascinating player, man. Where he's the guy that I thought Malachi Corley was going to be. Like, wow, he's a yards after the catch guy. He's explosive, shifty, a lot smaller, like 175 pounds. But it's like to me, you got to find the role for him on this team. It reminded me of the guy, what was it? Codrington. Was it a couple of years ago? Codrington, the returner, was explosive. I'm like, dude, and we let him go to Bills. We traded him to the Bills.
It was last year, yeah.
Right. So it's like he's the kind of guy where it's like I think we know what Gibson's ceiling is at this point, right? We kind of know what he is in terms of receiver returner. Do you find a role for Pritchett? You're like, listen, we want you to be the returner, and might be find a role on offense. We can do gadget plays, whatever else. Or do you say he's like maybe he goes to the practice squad?
Yeah, I would try to find a role for him. I have like my sort of tentative roster that I've sort of built out for the top 53, and I do have Pritchett on it. I have Nwangwu as kick returner. I have Pritchett as punt returner. I think those two special teams guys. Pritchett's fun to watch. He is tough to tackle. He was able to stop on a dime. Like that to me says explosiveness right there. And maybe there's some opportunity to get him into some gadget plays on the offensive side of the ball too. He's an exciting player I'd like to hold on to.
Yeah, 100%. Because it's like this to me, it's a young rebuilding team. You're trying to find pieces to your puzzle, and I think it's like this isn't like a boomer bust, Super Bowl or bust year. It's like a rebuild year, to be honest with you. 6-7 wins, and he's a guy that I think you try to find a role. He made a mistake, he bounced back for it, which is great. They're all young players, they're all gonna make mistakes. Just don't make a ton of them. So special teams, I think if you play good special teams, good defense, you run the ball, that should keep you in games. Then it comes down to Justin Fields, hopefully making plays. What's a realistic expectation for this team, dude? Like some fans, you get it, dude. Fans are like, over this season, I don't care. We're going to suck. We're tanking, 3 wins. Then you have some that say, hey, like Matt right here, trust the process. We can get to 7 or 8. What do you think? And the early part of the season is not easy, dude. Like Steelers, Bills are back to back. It's like, it could be 0-2 in a heartbeat, like what are your thought process here?
Yeah, for me, I think I'm going in with the optimism of just entertain me. I think Fields is a good swing of the bat. I'm not expecting a whole crazy ton. I think if it happens to work out, this is a year you're resetting the cap, you're evaluating the roster. So like all that sort of plays into my expectation level. I do think we're probably going to end up in that 6-win range. I think we're going to have some struggles on the offensive side of the ball primarily. Defense, I think, can be stout. Run game, I think, is going to be really, really good. Maybe you squeak out a 7th win towards the end of the year with like the Bills resting starters or something. I have a hard time seeing this team get to 10 wins.
Yeah, me too.
But like, just be competitive. I want to be that team that other teams go into the game and say, I really don't want to play them. Like I want to beat people up. I want to be a tough out. And if we wind up with a top pick, I'm kind of cool with it. Like I'm not hoping for a tank, but to me, it felt more like a soft tank where it was like, we're not intentionally trying to lose games. We're going to try and win. But you sort of put yourself in a situation with Fields where you may just wind up getting a top pick because of, maybe how he's played historically.
Yeah, and it was kind of like a conservative approach to free agency where they spent, but they didn't spend haphazardly. They didn't chase a lot of big names, which is fine. Like you're trying to rebuild, and like you said, you kept Sauce, you kept Garrett, you re-signed Sherwood. That's all fine, and it is what it is. I'm kind of excited to see how they handle it. I'm with you though, dude. I want to see a team you can be proud of. Like I'm tired of going into games and we're getting our asses kicked, we're getting pushed around the field, no pride, no tackling, no integrity. It's like you're sitting here like it's a shit fest, and you're tired of it. I mean, I know you're tired. We talked about this last year. It's like, dude, week in and week out, you watch games. By the third quarter, you're scrolling your phone, trying to watch other games, and you can't wait for the game to be over so you can watch other games, anything but the Jets. Like if you bring that back, that's a building block for next year. Then, like, listen, we know what we have. You inherited a team. You inherited like some bad players, some bad contracts. You weed them out, and next year is your big step from 6 wins to compete for the AFC East, right? And that's positive. That's fair. To me, I'm not. If you go in that 3-win range, then I don't think my liver could take that. I'd probably be drunk after season, but that would not be good.
Dude, if we go into like the trade deadline and we have like 2 wins, I'm just gonna be like, you got to be kidding me.
I can't do it.
Getting in November, like, no, it can't happen like that.
I can't do it again, dude. Like I literally like I've embraced a lot of stuff. I can't embrace being like 1-5 or 1-6 at one point in the season because I'll just be, you know how I get, dude. I'll just be ranting and raving and killing people. Now, week 1. Oh, before this, your roster that you did, the 53-man roster. Do you have any surprise cuts? I think everybody's expecting Clemens. I think he's going to be here. Corley, I think, is a foregone conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any surprises?
Yeah, I mean, I think Corley's definitely gone. I have Clemens on my roster. Admittedly, I'm still kind of working through the defense. I had Jamin Davis on there prior to today, so like I have to go back and like sort of reshuffle some stuff. I don't think there's anything shocking. I have Lazard and Cowart going to the IR, Irv Charles on the PUP. You know, the kick returners. I have Beck making it, so like, you know, I keep 4 tight ends, 9 offensive linemen, so I got the 2 centers. I got Newman as my guard. I have Mitchell, who's one of my tackles, plus a guard potentially, and then a Corafor. Yeah, I don't think it's anything like super crazy. Obviously, the 2 guys you trade for in Harrison Phillips and Juwan Briggs. Yep. It's really figuring out. I guess the linebackers is probably where I'm kind of.
That's where I'm at too.
Got to reshuffle a little bit. Part of me was like, oh, do we kind of like cut Nick Folk and Thomas Hennessy as like a wink, wink, nod, nod, like let's hold you on the roster a little bit longer. Yeah, I don't know. It depends how crafty we get. I don't really. We're only going to keep 2 quarterbacks though. I don't see us keeping more than Fields and Taylor on the 53.
I actually, in terms of like a project quarterback, I like Brady Cook better than Adrian Martinez. I think he's tough. He's gritty. He's not the best on the world, but he's shown me a lot where I'm like, all right, you know, he's something that you can store for a year or 2. Maybe, who knows, you get a good backup quarterback out of it. What are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, when I look at Fields and Martinez, I feel like Martinez is the better player right now. And if you needed to put in as like a quarterback too, I'd probably feel more comfortable with him based on how he plays. With Cook, there's more hope, I think, long-term that he could be like a backup. And obviously there's the relationship with him and Armand Membu. So I think that's, you know, some degree of like, you know, it was the same way I sort of felt about having, oh God, why am I Jordan Travis on the team last year with like Jermaine Johnson? Like when you have like 2 leadership kind of roles, you almost have like a leg up on the locker room dialogue and whatnot. So I don't know. I'm happy with either one. If either one could be a backup, Cook is the one we just have under contract for like a longer period of time.
Yeah. Now, if I think we were going to say the strength of the team would be what? The offensive line? If you had to say what's the strength?
Yeah, offensive line, running game is like sort of like the, you know, the focal point for sure. You know, I feel strongly about those 2 position groups.
Then what would you say is the biggest weakness of the team?
Biggest weakness? It could definitely be edge rusher. Like I think that could be a big problem. I really don't want to say quarterback. I'm concerned about the passing game, and that could stem from not having a wide receiver 2. It could stem from Fields just not being great at passing the ball. So like, I think it's a little bit of both of that. So I'll say the passing game, and then on the defensive side, the edge rushing game is the part I'm most concerned about.
Who starts, Tippmann or Myers? I think Tippmann starts.
Yeah,
but I wouldn't be surprised on a short leash though. I just if there's like the errant snaps like that, I don't think Glenn will take any. Like I don't think he'd pull the plug though.
Yeah, I really like Tippmann as a guard. Like it won't shock me if we go into this year and like there's a reason Josh Myers has a Pro Bowl incentive in his contract for this year.
Yep.
Like there was some intention that he thought he might be able to start. I think at the same time you may think AVT or Simpson may get knocked out at some point, and Tippmann's going to slide into guard at that point. And then realistically, going into the offseason between AVT and Simpson, which one of these guys are you going to resign? Are you going to resign both of them? I think that opens the door long-term for Tippmann possibly sliding over to guard anyway. It might just be easier to find a center in the draft in the mid rounds than maybe a high-end guard.
I get the same feeling, dude. I think they're kind of grooming it already. They're kind of like, they're not giving us the whole blueprint, but you kind of see where it's going with it. So, Ryan, believe it or not, we're 2 weeks away from Jets Steelers, which is pretty wild. And at this time in 2 weeks, we're already debating or discussing what happened. But what are your thoughts about the game, man? And there's so many storylines that I know Aaron Glenn's not going to give into it. But you know, Rodgers can't wait to come back here and just beat the Jets who quit on him. And Aaron Glenn wants to just prove his point. Like, listen, we didn't need him. We beat him. And he's What's your expectation with this game, man? This is the storylines are wild. The media's gonna have a field day with this one.
If we can win only one game for the entirety of the season, it's the damn Steelers game. Like I want it to be it. I do not want Rodgers to win versus us. I want to like put him in a body bag. I want 5 sacks. I want Sauce to get an interception on him. Like, I just don't want to lose. I'm okay. It could be by the skin of our teeth. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Like the Jets aren't supposed to win this game because of the Steelers being who the Steelers are. And like we cut Rodgers and all this other crap. Like as long as we win, I'd be very happy. But like making it so Rodgers feels like he regretted the decision to come back and play another year would feel really nice.
That's where I'm at, dude. Because you figure it's like the Steelers are going to be the favorite. They have Rodgers. They have, be a lot of Steeler fans in attendance. The game's not sold out, which means Steeler fans are buying tickets, which is always embarrassing in itself. But it's like, I'm with you, dude. Just beat them, dude. Beat them because it just makes the season start so much easier. If you lose to the Steelers and you get the Bills, like 0-2, and you can just start seeing the spiraling of the negativity and the same old Jet bullshit, which I don't want to deal with. But it's also like having that pride. Like you've had your entire offseason and training up season to focus on the Steelers. You know what the Steelers are. You know what Aaron Rodgers is, right? You know how it's going to be physical, be nasty. Beat him up, dude. Beat his ass. Like you said, 4 sacks. Like just make him regret coming back. Make him regret talking shit about us, whatever it is. That's the game you win. And that's a statement. And to me, it's a big statement for the Jets. Like if they come out flat, or not flat, but like unprepared and disorganized and sloppy, you see all these penalties, even though it's a rebuilding team, dude, it's kind of unacceptable. Like I don't want to deal with it because you just know what's going to be aftermath if that happens.
Yeah, and I just don't want to get shellacked either. Like, I don't want to have Rodgers come in here and throw like 400 yards on us and just be like, man, that's the guy we just gave up on. And he's like back to MVP form, which I don't think is going to be the case. Like, he looks slow as shit. Like, I really just want to take advantage of his lack of mobility right now. And I think Father Time has finally caught up with him.
Oh, 100%. And I think it's hopefully there's some kind of home field advantage, but I think you just want to see this defense chomping at the bit. Jermaine Johnson, Will McDonald. And I guess the one thing it's going to be the run defense, man, where it's like what we talked about. Harrison Phillips is a big upgrade. They needed that move. I was ridiculously nervous. Like, I was getting really nervous. I'm like, you're watching the preseason, like, dude, we can't stop anybody. Everybody's friggin' hurt. Like, what are your thoughts on Phillips?
Yeah, I thought the Phillips addition, I like that he's a captain as well. Was he 29, 30 years old? I like the Jawan Briggs trade as well. I thought that was a nice move on an up-and-coming player. Played the final 4, 5, 6 games of the season last year. Looked like he was trending in the correct direction. Through his snaps in preseason, looked like he was trending in the right direction. So, like, from where we were a week ago to where we are now, you got to feel at least a little bit better going into it. And you really didn't give up much. You still retain a draft pick. You just, trade down from like a 6th round pick to a 7th round pick, which I think is the way you should be doing, like this tail end of the summer waiver wire situation.
Now, have you been impressed with Muji and his approach to his first season here? Because I think having Rick Spielman in the building helps a lot because the contracts weren't ludicrous. Like, he handled big names and big situations with Garrett and Sauce. He handled that well. I also like that they made some mistakes too. Like, they made some moves that didn't work and they went out and traded for Phillips. Like my whole thing is you inherit players, you assess them, and then, all right, it didn't work, you pivot. Don't I think at times Joe Douglas and Solomon, probably Joe Douglas, was very arrogant about his moves. Like, no, it's going to work. These guys will work out. And they didn't. And they just kept dragging it out. We just got tortured by it. Do you like that they're being a little more proactive now and say, okay, listen, we have to do this because we have holes and we can address them with 6th round picks and 7th round picks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I really liked what Muji did. Not just with the Sauce and Garrett contracts, but with Sherwood's contract as well. I feel like we got 3 young guys locked in early on to contracts that I, agree with. When I look at how they've drafted and like maybe holding on to guys too long and as far as Douglas goes, like, just look at Mekhi Becton. I mean, how long did we not address the tackle position correctly because we were kind of hanging on this Mekhi Becton thing? We wound up letting Morgan Moses leave. We wound up letting George Fant leave because we thought this guy was going to be a left tackle. Like, here, I feel like you see, like, okay, the run defense is clearly an issue right now. Okay, let's go out and address it. Like, let's go. We'll make some moves. It was an area or a position group that we did not address in the draft that we thought a lot of us were like, hey, like, when are we going to see this D tackle? When are we going to see this D tackle? So to see them finally address it in a way that doesn't really give up a whole heck of a lot. Like, I would have been happy with the Jets pulling the trigger on a D tackle in the 5th or 6th round and essentially trading for one that's got NFL caliber, play under his belt. And Phillips and even Briggs, to that matter, is like kind of more of you've seen them in the NFL type move as opposed to just drafting a rookie with that pick anyway. So yeah, I'm happy with where they've been so far.
Yeah, I think it seemed like every year we say it's like, oh, we have adults in the room. I actually
Mhm.
think we have adults in the room now. Like they seem like they're very prepared, they're very diligent, and I
Mhm.
think it's all Aaron Glenn, dude. As much as Moogie's there, I think Aaron Glenn's fingerprints
Mhm.
are all over this roster. And the one thing I like about it, he's involved everywhere, and it's not like fluff. It's not like I think many times Sal was like a used car salesman. He portrayed that he was
Mhm.
doing all these things, but he didn't really do it. You see Glenn in practice, in the special teams, in defense, in offense, talking to the quarterbacks. Like he's like, and it has a scouting background too, so he knows what he wants. And I
Mhm.
like his assessment of Phillips. Like, no, this is one of our guys. He plays like a Jet. Like
Mhm.
this is our standard player. I like that a lot. It almost makes you feel better. Like we know what we're doing finally, and we're not just square peg round hole kind of guys now.
The Phillips thing is nice too because he played against Detroit 6 times over the course of the last 3 years, and his best games came against Detroit. So you got to think that whole Detroit coaching staff like zeroed in on him and was like, okay, this is a guy that's a problem right now. Like,
Yep.
okay, so now we've got him on our roster. Like that you feel good about that, and it definitely is Aaron Glenn's team. Like Muji is almost like just an extension of Glenn, and Glenn is really like the master. I feel like
Yeah.
When we went into that first press conference when they were being introduced, I think there was maybe 10 or 12 questions and one went to Muji, the rest went to Aaron Glenn.
Yep.
Like there's a very clear power presence in play with Aaron Glenn.
And they've successfully eliminated all the leaks. There is no leaks
Mhm.
about players, stories. I mean, literally nothing, dude. Like we don't know who's getting cut. Like usually now by now, oh, this guy's not gonna be here. I think a lot
Mhm.
of guys in the are guessing. Oh, I think this. Like, this according to my
Mhm.
source, but you have no idea, dude, because
Mhm.
nothing's getting out. Which they needed this. They needed this like this cleansing of the
Mhm.
last 4 or 5 years of shit we've been dealing with. It's like,
Mhm.
all right, let's act like an adult organization. Let's clean it up and then build year by year. Hopefully, by next year, you can compete for the AFCs. That's kind of my expectation. But it seems like they're heading in the right direction. But would you have to say, which is a scary word to say to Jet fans, we got to be a little patient this year because it's going to be some learning curves. There's going to be some speed bumps, and just
Mhm.
the overall lack of talent and depth issues couldn't bite them in the ass at some point in the season.
Yeah, I'm going to be looking at the process itself. So like, is Angstrom calling a good game? Are we in, positive down and distances consistently? Like how many third and shorts are we in consistently? Are we constantly in 3rd and 8, and 3rd and 10s? Like
Yeah.
I don't want to be in those sort of situations. So if the team can feel, hey, it's the eyeball test for me, right? Like I don't necessarily have to see the wins and losses,
Yep.
but if I can feel like, okay, we're trending in the right direction, then I think that's a successful season. And I feel like you're building towards the future because you want to have that atmosphere of like, new vibes, what you want to target for next offseason, whether that's with draft picks or with
100%.
money, who you want to resign. Like if you have the answers to those questions, like which guard you're going to bring back, like what areas you're going to address going into year 2. I think that's really the valuable part for me.
Yeah, I'm looking. You don't want to look away and say this is a well-coached team. They're
Mhm.
prepared week in, week out. They're well-coached. They're just lacking talent. Like, and that's, I can deal with that. If you lose to a better team,
Mhm.
say the Bills, 27-21, but it's a close game and they're just better team, I can
Mhm.
do it. But if you're not showing up and you're beating yourself and you look like shit,
Mhm.
like it's like, all right, we've known it. Like the best thing about being a Jet fan is we know bad coaching when we see it. So like our radar goes off, right? It's just like,
Mhm.
I know this. I've seen this before, but I'm hoping that doesn't not the case because I think there's a lot of really good things to embrace, but. I don't know, man. It's gonna be interesting. So right now, your gut feeling for week 1, man. If you had to, are you leaning Jets can keep it really close? You'll do your prediction now, but like, are you encouraged? You're excited? Or you're skeptical? How are you feeling?
Jets are winning week 1. We're going to beat we're going to beat Rodgers week 1. It's not going to be a pretty game. It's going to be like a 12-9 or like a 12-10 get. Like there might be one score like from a touchdown perspective, but I think Jets are going to bring it, and I think we're going to find a way to win the home opener.
Dude, I'm with you. I'm along with you. That's the game you win. That's a statement game that you
Mhm.
circle there. I mean, we do this, we get rid of all the critics, all the skeptics, and now we can just play.
Mhm.
Lose to the Bills, nobody's gonna care. They're gonna care, but like, all right, 1-1. You
Yeah.
can get off on the right start because the last thing you want, dude, is that starting off with an 0-3 spot. You're like,
Mhm.
it'd be brutal. Well, first of all, Ryan, thank you for your time, dude. Sunday night. I know everybody's busy and tired and all this other shit, so I definitely appreciate it. Have you enjoyed your summer?
Yeah, I've had a pretty good summer. Got to travel up to Maine, did a little bit of hanging out by the pool, back home. Yeah, not too bad. Definitely getting ready for football season. It feels good to at least have something to watch on Sundays. And then hopefully, like you said, it's entertaining. I don't want to feel like it's a chore to watch Jet football. I want to just be entertained.
And everybody knows who you are, but if they don't know who you are, where can they find you? When do you watch? You're on all the time. You're streaming all the time now.
Yeah, Jets Talk 24/7 on YouTube. I also go live on Tuesdays with the Talking Jets panel, myself, O'Leary, and Greenbean. Always having a good time. But yeah, Jets Talk 24/7, basically any social media platform, I will be there.
And then you go to the home opener, right?
We're going to the home opener. That's right. We're doing our group buy. So you got to swing by.
Bro, you're dangerous to hang out with, man. I try to be quiet and calm. I go by you and I leave drunk somehow. I don't know how it happens, but it's just, I don't know what happens when that happens.
I love tailgating with you.
It's a good time. Well, thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it. Everybody already follows you, dude. You guys have great events going on. So appreciate it. And then week 1 guarantee from you. So now I feel better already.
Oh, yeah. Better believe it. 1-0, baby.
Thank you guys for joining us. We appreciate it. Have a good night.
Jackie!